everyone, it's Bridget here from Bridget's Kitchen, coming live from my kitchen with a very quick little video that the reason I'm doing this quick little cooking class is I have been absolutely inundated recently here on Facebook with people requesting my zucchini chips recipe. So I thought I would do a quick little cooking class to give you guys two methods on how you can make zucchini chips, because there is two ways there's actually 3 or 4 ways you can do it, but I'm going to give you 2 ways today. One of those ways actually comes directly from the cookbook. Yes, my zucchini chips recipe is in my cookbook. It is on page 234. Check that out. Pretty cool, huh? I know, right? Look at all those zucchini chips. It's marvelous. So I do have a really robust and really easy recipe, but it is time consuming, and that is in the book. And it's one of these recipes that you do need, like this is something you maybe want to do when you're chilling out at home. Maybe you want to teach the kids how to do it. You know, it's not something that you can whip up really, really quick, but the results are worth the effort, put it that way. And you don't actually have to do much. There's a lot of waiting time. And the reason there's a lot of waiting time is because when it comes to, and I'll give you a little bit of insight into the old friend, the zucchini, or the courgette as it's also known, zucchini or courgette. It has a very high water content, and in order to get chips, and the type of chips I'm talking about is not like French fries, I'm actually talking like potato chip style. In order to get that sort of quality and crunch, you need to extract as much moisture from this so you get that crunch, and that actually takes a bit of time to do that. So the recipe that I have in here is for oven baked zucchini chips, and in my mind this is the ideal way to make zucchini chips. So you slice the zucchini really, really thin. Then you allow the moisture to be extracted. And the way that I do that, I'll show you what I've done here, just so you've got a bit of an idea. And I will run through this with you in more depth in this little video. So down here on my bench, what I have here is a tea towel. And underneath the tea towel, I actually have my zucchini slices. And you can see that for a start, they're really wafer thin, like potato chip style. And I'll show you how I get them that thin. But then what I do is I lay them all out onto a tea towel. I might even lay the entire tea towel with zucchini. This is only half a zucchini, by the way, so you can see that even 2 zucchinis, I'll be able to put them all onto this tea towel, top them with another tea towel, and then allow the moisture to naturally be extracted from the zucchini. We're going to get a nice crunchy chip that way. So that's how I do it when I'm doing them in the oven, and it's really necessary to be able to extract that moisture. And what you'll find after time is this tea towel will be completely soaked with moisture as it comes out of that zucchini. Remember, really high natural water content in our zucchini. So that's how I do my zucchini if I'm oven baking them, and then I cook them in a really low slow oven. And as I was saying, if you want the recipe for that, that is totally in the cookbook, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, page 234. And you can kind of see the style of the chip that I've been able to achieve with this method. And I've put different flavors on them. Like this one is with wakame. I also have one with garlic powder, pure garlic powder as well. And this one here is just a pure salt version. So you can do different flavors of your zucchini chips, which is like totally awesome. But just bear in mind, it does take a bit of time. Not as in working time, just waiting time, as you're waiting for that moisture to be extracted through the tea towel. So that's one method, and that's definitely the method that I recommend when it comes to zucchini chips, is that if you're doing it in the oven, you get the ability for the heat to be a lot more consistent, and also you get to do quite big batches at a time. I'll show you the size of my oven tray, just so you've got a bit of an idea. You see how big my oven tray is? That's huge, right? I can do so many zucchini chips at one time in my oven using my big oven tray, and then I'll put, you know, racks of zucchini chips at the same time. So that's the method that I would definitely recommend, is that you go with the method in my cookbook, which is oven cooked or oven baked, or even slow oven dehydrated almost, because you do it at a really low temperature. And the zucchini chips come out marvelous. There is another method that I'm going to show you guys how to do today, and it is definitely a lot quicker, but the results are not quite as good, but I'm going to give it to you anyway, because I like to give you guys options. And some of you don't have hours and hours and hours to spend waiting for the moisture to come out of your zucchini. So here is another method for you, and this method is actually using the old air fryer. So the air fryer method, once again, It's not as consistent. I'll show you the results, but it has some very similar methods or techniques that you use for both oven and for air fried. So the first thing we want to do, of course, is we want to go down and we want to chop our zucchini. So I'm using, you know, it doesn't matter what size zucchini you use. This is kind of pretty average, I suppose. Average size zucchini. Compose yourself, Bridget. Compose yourself. Very average size zucchini. So up to you. I mean, you can get really big ones. Oh gosh, I need to stop. Okay, right, we're going to cut our zucchini. It's the first thing I want to do. So I'm going to go back down to my bench. Now, there's this is probably the best way that you can slice your zucchini, because you need to get it. Remember, I was showing you before. You need to get it into slices that are that. See how thin that is? That is like super duper thin. You could almost see through it. I did not do that by hand. I did not do that with my knife, because even I am, you know, a fairly decent slicer of vegetables and things. There is no way I can consistently get that cut. It is impossible. And you need to get it really, really thin, because it's going to cook because it's going to cook evenly, and you are going to get that crunch that you're after. If you've got really thick, almost like doorstopper slices, you're just going to get a soggy piece of zucchini. So it's really important that we get that slice right. And as I was saying, I don't get that slice with this. As much as I love my knife, I'm just not that good. I'm just not that good. So the way that I get a thin slice is I do use my knife just to knob off the edges there. We can discard those. And then I use a mandolin, which is one of these slicers. You might have a vegetable slice like this. It doesn't have to look like this, but the idea is that what we're going to do is we're going to get really, really super thin and super consistent slices of zucchini. So I'll go that way so you can see them falling down. So being really careful, your mandolin probably comes with a guard, a plastic guard to protect your fingers. Please use it. Couldn't find my guard this morning. This does have one, but please, please, please use the guard. Like I cannot state that any more clearly. Please use a guard, because I have been a victim of not using a guard. And this little blade here is extremely sharp and it's extremely dangerous. So please use your guard. So taking your zucchini, I cut mine in half just for ease of getting it down the mandolin. And then I've set the slicer very, very thin, as you can see. So the way that I adjust how thick I want it is this part here will determine how thick. If I want it really, really thick, I just wind this down. If I want it really, really thin, I wind it back up again. And what I'm looking for, remember, is this type of thinness and consistency. So remember, just using your guard, you're going to run your zucchini down. I would definitely suggest you do rounds for chips as opposed to going that way and doing, you know, lengths. It just doesn't quite work. It doesn't really look that chip-like. This is definitely the better step. Someone just said, I concur with warning about using the guard. Thank you, Lorianne, for that concurring. Use your guard. Look, even Laurie reckons use your guard. Please use your guard, because losing tips of fingers is not pleasant, and it's not fun. Trust me on this. Trust me from personal experience, it's not fun. So once we've got our zucchini down, I'm not going to go any further because I don't have my guard. I'm going to show you guys one more time. Real easy stuff, right? And as I was saying, you're not going to get this consistency if you're using a knife. It's just virtually impossible, because human error. Whereas if I'm just, you know, doing this with my mandolin, I'm getting this. Ooh, see how dangerous that can be. I'm getting the same type of slice every single time. All right, I'm going to stop there because that's enough scary for today. So this is what we're looking for. You can see the consistency in the slices, yeah? And that hasn't taken me long because I am using a mandolin or a vegetable slicer. There are so many of them on the market today, and all of them come with guards, with little guards to protect your fingers. So that's what we're looking for. So what we want to do now, if we were doing it for the oven, what I would then do, let me just put those there for a second. What I would then do is, remember my tea towel, I'd get my clean tea towel, lay it out, and then lay my zucchini slices onto the tea towel, just like this. This is what I would do if I was doing it for the oven. So nothing really changes whether you're doing it in your air fryer or you're doing it in the oven. And yes, you can use a dehydrator as well to do this, but it takes about 12 hours to use the dehydrator, which is even more time that you have to waste, to wait. But there is nothing wrong with doing it in the oven, because the recipe I have in the book, Bridget's Healthy Kitchen, is literally oven cooked, and I get so many zucchini chips out of that method. So this is what you kind of want to do if you're doing it in the oven, right? And then we're going to put another clean tea towel, or fold the tea towel in half. We're going to leave that just to extract the moisture down. You don't have to do anything like put a weight on it. You just leave it. Time is what you work with here when it comes to zucchini chips. But I'm going to show you the air fryer recipe. And the air fryer recipe is a little bit easier. So I've got my air fryer here. I've got a wire rack as well. Now there is some caveats that I'm going to add to this recipe, as I was saying. The one I'm teaching you guys from the book, it's it's perfect, right? As long as you use your mandolin, you get those thin, even slices. You let the zucchini moisture come out by putting it in the tea towel, and then you put it in the oven. You can't go wrong. When it comes to the air fryer, a little bit different. Firstly, what you'll notice is that this is quite a small rack, and by the way, this is a 10-litre air fryer. It's humongous. I can put a whole chicken in here. But when it comes to actually making things on a rack, you've got a smaller capacity to work with, as opposed to my oven tray, which is like that big, and I can do lots and lots at the same time. So when it comes to this one, it's a little bit smaller, so you're going to be making fewer chips at the same time. We're doing the same type of concept, as we're laying out the zucchini. You only can do the other thing with zucchini chips, you can only do a single layer at a time. You can't double up. I'm overlapping them ever so slightly, just ever so slightly, but you cannot double up. You can't just throw all your zucchini chips into the air fryer and hope for the best. It's just honestly, it's not going to work. So what you need to do is actually to lay them out onto your wire rack, and you need to have a wire rack, something similar to this, like this in your air fryer, because you want the air to be able to flow all around it, which is what makes the air fryer so awesome. But let me just throw out that caveat on this recipe, is that I do prefer the oven method with this one, just because you get way more consistent chips, and I'll show you why. So we're laying it out. I know it looks really pretty, doesn't it? Right, it's really pretty. It's wonderful. Someone's asking how long will they keep for? I hate to say this, Cara, but one of the other issues with zucchini chips, unless you're putting them into a dehydrator, which completely removes all moisture, and that takes around about 12 to 14 hours in the dehydrator. If you're making them in the oven, if you're making them in the air fryer, they literally will only last for a couple of hours of crispiness. The moisture from the air will get back into them, and they'll start to sog up. So if you are making zucchini chips, definitely, these are to be consumed straight away. So it goes on looking like a lovely little flower. I'm going to add just a touch of salt, not too much. The reason being is as these chips cook and the moisture is extracted, naturally starts to come out of the chips, the flavor that I'm adding to this will concentrate. So you don't want to add too much. It's just a sprinkling of salt goes on there. As I was saying in my other recipes, I do them with wakame. I do them with a pure onion or a pure garlic powder, which is really nice. And then this goes over to the air fryer. Into the air fryer. Remember, one layer at a time. And then I put them on for about 10 minutes on 160 degrees Celsius. Now, what is going to happen? And this is where it's not so great in the air fryer. Is that how air fryer works? Is hot air is circulated at a really high speed. So imagine those little thin chips sitting on that wire rack. They go woof, and they blow all over the place. And so you get some that are stuck to the rack, and some that are just kind of flying, and some that stick to the bottom. So as I was saying, it's not a consistent way to do it. You will still get chips. After 10 minutes in here, you will get chips. But your chips will look like this. Okay, are you ready? They don't look fantastic. They do taste pretty good, but your chips are kind of going to look like this, right? So I've got some that are a little bit dark. I've got others that haven't really cooked too much at all. We've still got a little bit of a crunch out of them. They do taste fabulous, don't get me wrong. Remember, this is 10 minutes at 160 degrees Celsius, which is 320 degrees Fahrenheit. 10 minutes in there, and you do get that. You could cook them for about 8 minutes. You won't get them quite that color. They'll be a little bit lighter, but they'll also be soggier. So there's this kind of fine balance that you want to get that an air fryer does struggle with. And literally the worst part about it is I'll turn this on. I'll show you. I'm going to turn it on real quick because I want to show you guys what happens in a matter of seconds. I'm going to turn it on. Remember I think I said 160 degrees or 320 degrees Fahrenheit, and that is going to be on for 10 minutes. All right, so I'm just going to turn it on really quickly. I can remember how they were really kind of cool, laid out in my rack. All right, this is what happens after a couple of seconds. You see, the middle ones are flying everywhere. So unfortunately, the consistency is not as great in the air fryer. Yes, you will get crunchy chips like that, and you can have a little bit of a munch, or you can put them onto something if you really want to. But in all honesty, the recipe that I have here in Bridget's book, Bridget, like I'm in the third person, in the book, that's the consistency you're after, right? Look at them. They actually look like chips. A little bit different from this. Hence why I have the oven method in my cookbook and not the air fry method. I just think that's just, it does take a little bit longer, but you know what? The result of you taking that little bit more time is pretty awesome. But if you just want to have a little bit of a crunchy chip, just to yourself, eat them straight away. 10 minutes in the air fryer, 160 degrees Celsius, 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Just remember that the secret to getting a really good chip is making sure that your consistency in your cut is really, really good. So if you're attempting this with a knife, good luck. Good luck is all I can say. I don't know what the temp is in the dehydrator. Sorry, Gabrielle, I don't own a dehydrator. I don't have time for it. I'm like, I want it now. So I'm sorry, I can't give you that temperature on the dehydrator. I just know it takes 12 to 14 hours, and when I saw that, I was like, I'm not bothering with that. So that's how you get it nice and chip-like. Go for the book, bridgetscookbook.com, if you haven't got a copy already. If not, throw them in your air fryer. 10 minutes, 320 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees Celsius, and you'll be all done. Now, I forgot to tell you guys something really, really cool. Did not know if you know this. I have a YouTube channel. Did you guys know that? I do. I have a YouTube channel. I've got about 35,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel. I've never promoted it here on Facebook, but I'm promoting it today because I've started to upload all the videos that I've made on Facebook and now available on YouTube. So if you want to go back and watch them again, you can. So my YouTube channel, if you just Google Bridget's Kitchen YouTube, it'll come up. You can subscribe, of course, and you'll get notifications every time a new video comes online. It's got, yeah, I think I've uploaded, I don't know, maybe 30, 40, 50 videos that I've done on Facebook in the last, couple of months. I've uploaded them to YouTube, so they are there, the little kitchen tutorials for you guys. So join me on YouTube. Don't forget to join me also on our private Facebook page, which is Bridget's Healthy Kitchen Family. That's our private group, full of inspirational people, full of people who are on the same journey as us. So join me there as well, and we will talk to you really, really soon. Enjoy your zucchini chips. Let me know how they work for you and what method you prefer. If anyone can throw us in the dehydrator temperature, please do, because I'm sure there's people who do have dehydrators and we want to use that method as well. All right, guys, talk to you soon. Bye.